Hey guys, it's Prince Rich with Rich Technology Group, and today's video we are going to do a demo and explanation of a very cool SMS communications platform called Bubble that we feel is great for medical practices, small, medium, and large. So, as you can imagine, with everything that's going on between the pandemic, social distancing, there is a lot of increased awareness in not only health and safety, but the need for a lot of medical practices to be able to better and easily and more quickly and rapidly communicate with their clients and contacts, not only in the individual sense, but also in the mass sense, i.e., bulk SMS or MMS messaging to their clients, whether it be for information, updates, medical and health alerts, you name it. So today, I actually have the experts over at Broadvoice here with me to talk about their new and incredible bulk SMS messaging platform called Bubble. So first and foremost, Kathleen and Chris, I'd like to both personally thank you for being here to share your time and give an opportunity to chat with our audience about this platform and show it off. Before we hop into what Bubble is and talk about the different benefits and pros of how it can help medical practices and physicians to be able to communicate seamlessly and more efficiently with their clients and their contacts. Could each of you briefly just tell the viewers who you are and what your role actually is at Broadvoice?
I'll start. Hi, everyone. I'm Kathleen Anito, and I'm the channel manager here for Broadvoice in the Northeast. Just so you know, a tiny bit about who Broadvoice is, we are a hosted voice company that's been around since 2007, and we're US based. We're here to talk today about our texting platform, and that's a standalone product. We also do a myriad of things other than just hosted voice. There's a lot of layers there. And then I'll pass it over to you, Chris.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris. I'm a sales engineer with Broadvoice, and I've been with the company for about 10 years. And primary role is to kind of look through the solutions that we have in our kit and make sure that it's going to be a good fit for your deployment. And Bubble's got a lot of versatility to it, so I'm looking forward to talking about it today.
Awesome, awesome. Well, again, I want to thank you guys both for being here. So, what do you say we jump right in and talk about the platform? So, Chris, if you want to go ahead and get your screen started to share, there's a few things I want to say that you while you do that. One of the things that we're going to talk about in this video today, you guys, is first we're going to talk about the capabilities of the software, how it streamlines client communications with, for your patients, for your clients, for your contacts, maybe even your vendors, for your small, medium, or large medical practice. And then we're going to jump into just some questions that I have for Chris and Kathleen at Broadvoice in regards to the administration part. So, Chris, if you're ready, just let me know when you're ready, and then I'll start asking
Yeah.
away. Oh,
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Cool, cool. So first, Chris, before I get into the more specific questions about what the platform can do, the benefits and things like that to folks in the medical and telehealth sector, could you just briefly explain to the viewers what is Bubble? What actually is this platform, and what does it do in the general sense?
Yeah, so Bubble in the general sense is a mass texting platform. So the idea is that this is a platform where you're going to keep all of your clients or patients information. It's stored in the form of contacts. And one of the key things that when you're storing your contacts is you use things called tags. And you can think of them a lot like you would your hashtags for any sort of social media posting. The idea is that you want to tag clients appropriately. That way, when you need to search for them in the future, you can search by those tags. So the tags can be something as simple as cars or appointments or new clients or whatever it is that you want to do. And that makes interacting with the Bubble platform a lot easier, because then you can actually look up and say, okay, well, I want to send a promotion out to all of our new patients or new clients or whatever may have you who haven't set up appointments yet. A good example is we dealt with one entity. They were a multifaceted medical industry that catered to a bunch of different requirements in the medical field, everything from skincare to yoga to chiropractic and everything like that. But one of the things that they wanted to do is that one of their divisions was obviously your standard medical practice, they wanted to notify all of everybody in their patient or client base or patient base, however you want to think of it, that, hey, look, we're doing flu vaccines, everything like that. Let's go ahead and get those scheduled. So they were able to say, just send it out to everybody. And then they were able to set up some systems where basically, if they replied back with a keyword, that keyword being appointment, then it would go into a queue and let the call center agents basically work through that queue and schedule all those appointments and everything. So it was a really effective platform for them to kind of get a leg up on that whole the flu vaccine process that happens
Wow.
the time of year it is right now.
Cool. All right. So one of the questions that I have on here, or one of the things I'd like you to speak on and also present, if you can show me in the system. I talk with a lot of folks in the medical field, and probably the biggest complaint that I hear from most people is just, especially with everything going on now with the pandemic, and people thinking that they might be sick or they might not be infected, and they're getting a lot of calls. Some people need help, some people don't, but because of the sheer, I don't want to call it panic, but it's more of increased awareness and fear of the unknown. The biggest complaint I hear is people saying they're getting too much calls. They're getting too much call overload. So then on top of appointment reminders, it's just too much. Show me how this system, it's the biggest thing I get asked about, appointment reminders, how this system could at the very least take appointment reminders off of a medical practice or a physician's administration staff hands, so that that's one less thing that they're having to manually, be involved in.
Yeah, that's a great question. And looking at the screen share that I have set up, just so anybody's aware, the left side is basically messages web. So any message that I send from this platform that I'm sending to this number, we'll see it here on the left on the black screen. The right screen is the Bubble platform. So probably the most simplistic way you can look at reminders is just pop in here and going into the reminders. I go into one time. And then from here, it'll load up, and then I can set, I'm going to maybe search for somebody. Let's say dude, I think is what I had that contact labeled as. So there we go. I can see the time zone that they're set to. This is the phone number it's going to come from. So if the customer has multiple numbers they can text out from, they'd have that there in the drop down. I can label the reminder. So I'll just say, let's say a consult, right? And then down here, this is where I would actually pick a template. So in this case, I'm just going to use one of my general templates that I use. It's car related, but you can kind of get the idea here. The cool thing about these templates is that they have the ability to do a variable replacement. So here it's actually doing a first name replacement. So it's actually going to put that contact's first name in there as it exists in the platform, which is a nice little touch to it. It gives that personalization so that when you get that text, it's not just some junk text message. Like a lot of us may see it, and we see these text messages that aren't addressed to us. We're like, oh, this is just some spam. Now, in this case here, I'm going to set a date and time for this. Bear with me. It looks like my browser is stalled. There we go. Date and time. And I'm going to set it for December 22nd. Okay. And there's my time set that I have it set for. So right now that appointment is going to go out at December 22nd. And maybe I want to send another follow-up as well, maybe as it gets closer to that appointment. So say, for instance, I'm going to pick December 24th. There we go. And then I'm going to do, again, maybe I'll do a different one. And then you can have all these different templates here. And I can even add another one in here if I wanted to. And I can keep going with this as much as I want. Usually you want to try to be, cognizant of your market and everything like that, and not oversaturate your clients. So there we go. I've got my reminder set up. So I've got one set for the 22nd, the 24th, 25th. I'm going to hit schedule. And now it's going to schedule. And the cool thing is it's actually going to show up here on the schedule up top. So if I'm looking at these calendars, I can actually see what's going on for that particular day. And if I want to go in and look at a particular day, I can just kind of dive into that. And it's going to load up in a second. I can see all the different appointment reminders I have set for that day as well. Also, the Bubble platform does have an open API. So if you have any sort of CRM or medical platform or whatever that has an open API as well, you can code against the two and have it launched that way. So you don't even have to have a person in here doing the process that I did. You can just have the machines do what the machines do, which is beneficial. So let me go ahead and show you the little calendar component real quick. And there we go. And just give it a second.
With what you just said about the open API, so does that mean that it has the ability through the open API, and if somebody say integrated with their CRM, that would potentially give them the ability to import contacts or things like that?
Yeah, and the importing process is pretty easy. You usually just do like an export, and then you can do a bulk import. The real functionality of the API is going to be the automated processes. So that whole thing that I just did, where I had to manually create those 3 appointment reminders,
Mm-hmm.
the API connection to the CRM or medical system would take care of that.
Understood. Understood. Okay. Let me know. Was there anything else you had on that, or next point?
Not on the topic of
Okay.
appointment reminders.
Okay. Let's see here. I saw in some information like a data sheet and some YouTube videos that you guys had on Bubble that you had something on there about powerful alerts and notification capabilities. Could you speak on that and show kind of what you mean by alerts and notifications, like in what capacity and what does it do in that regard?
Yes. Yeah. So we covered the basic reminders. There's other ways that you can text out to your client base or patient base. One of the most common ones is a text cast. So the cool thing about text cast is when you first start to do it, you actually can search based on all these different categories, right? So tag, which is what I mentioned earlier, kind of like that social media hashtag, but you can also do it based on a region. So as an example, one of the accounts that Kathleen and I were working recently is it was a multi-state, Kathleen, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was multi-state.
It was multi-state, but basically it was a customer that provided service based on weather patterns. So as a weather pattern moved into a particular region, they would need to text that region. So this is where that would really come in handy. So they do city, state. So you do state, and let's say I'll do contains. Let's see what comes up if I got anything here. So there we go, and that would grab everybody that's in that has California set as their address and their contact, and then I can send out that template, whatever that template may be. So I would do, I'll do my parts sales one again, and I'll drop that Farkas guy off there. That way he's not getting it while I'm in the middle of this. So I can then just instantly send this, or I can set this up a little delay. So in their example, they know when a weather pattern is coming in. They know it's going to hit them in about 12 hours. So then I would do a little time text delay, and I could say, okay, I want it to go, instead of minutes from now, I want it to go hours from now, and let's go 12 hours from now. Or again, I can set it with a specific date and time. Now in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the time text because I want to show you guys what that automated message looks like when it comes through on the client side. So I'm just going to hit send. And there, it's going to pop up here on that left-hand side in that black screen that I mentioned earlier. I did send it to the right. Yeah, there we go. So hello, Car. We are running, and again, it did that name replacement, and the way that I have that name set up is his name is Car, and then it just sends out that automated text template that we had set up. So that's an example of how that would work. And like I said, there's a bunch of different components on it. You can send it immediately. You can delay it. You can set it for a specific date and time. That kind of helps with like promos, weather patterns, any type of thing where you need to like mass alert people. Really good for schools as well.
Awesome.
That's another one that comes up a lot too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, while we're on that subject of being able to do that, like what you were saying about kind of like separate things and have different groups, one of the things that I saw in some of you guys' information was that this had the ability to, it sounds like Bubble has the ability to identify or detect text messages by, I guess, like a preset group and send it to specific agents or departments. Could you talk a little bit on how that would work? Like being able to segregate or send specific text messages, whether it be in the individual or the mass, or the mass sense of bulk text messages to specific persons that are managing those text messages or specific groups. How does that work?
Yeah, so there's a couple different mechanisms that you can do that. You can do it based on a phone number. So if I just text the word right now and I just say hello, right? Now, what's going to happen is that text is going to come back, and it's going to come back into my queue. And the way that that's managed is all through this platform that I'm looking at here on the right-hand side, and go over to my chat box. And I can see here's that message from that contact. And he said, hello. Now I can actually grab that, and I can take ownership of this and basically turn this text interaction into like a live chat type support interaction. So you'll see the message pop up over here on the left, and I'll just start typing preemptively.
Yep.
So, and that's the basic queuing function. The other things you can do with it is you can actually have contacts prefer specific agents. So in the contact management, I'll just pop into here and we'll look for that guy real quick. So I think it's car guy or car dude. There we go. Edit. So I can actually say, so I can default like prefer which group he goes to. So in this case, I can say he always goes to the primary group. And in this case, I can say, okay, which agent does he go to as well? So I can actually designate like certain contacts go to certain agents based on the, you know, whatever interaction they've had in the past. I'm gonna go ahead and go back over to the into that chat that we had and pull that up. The other thing I can do with this is when the chat closes out, I can have like an automated message, which I haven't set up yet, but things like closing salutations and stuff like that. Like, thanks for choosing, hope, stay healthy, whatever it is that you want to do, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. And the reason why I want to close that out is I want to touch on another function that a lot of people see every day when we're talking about texting. You guys see these advertisements, text money to 21212 or whatever it is, right? That's what we call keywords. So in this case, I'm going to text the word fast to that number. And now what a result is an automated response back based on what I have configured for that keyword. Now, in this case, again, this is all my car-centric ones, so it's going to be, kind of car-centric, but this is the automated response. And as you can see here, that just came through. I didn't send that dialogue, the system did because it detected that keyword. And now I can actually respond to this and say something like, okay, for, press 3 or press 4 for a link to Bubble, right? So I press 4, and then I should get an automated response back. And then it'll have that whatever that response is. Oh, what's a link to the Bubble platform? And
wow.
Maybe if I want to send something else. So that's another way you could do it as well. And I think of it more of like an automated kind of triage thing. And going back to that medical practice that we talked about earlier, that was one of the things that they wanted to do is they wanted for one of these sub-entities for people to be able to kind of triage themselves and do their own things, get answers or whatever may have you based on some automated things. And the guy in the call was very technical and he kind of, he saw this and he kind of, his brain instantly just went, and he just thought of like all these different ways how he can kind of, triage his customers automatically with this platform, which is really cool.
Yeah, what you just showed there is very powerful because I spoke with a customer just to throw a quick example out there of where I see that automated response being extremely beneficial for physicians and folks in the medical practice. I had worked with a physician practice and she made a complaint. She made a complaint that, quote unquote, I get like 14 to 20 people. Her exact words was, I get 14 to 20 people that call this office every single day that are saying they think they have COVID. And she said it wastes so much of my time. And I wish there was a way that I could just tell them, hey, if you think you have that, you need to either dial 911 or go to your nearest hospital. So like, if I'm understanding what you just showed me, somebody could create keywords like COVID and it'd say something like, if you think this or that, do this or that. Here's some things we recommend. Here's a link to who.com for such and such information, or go to your nearest hospital. Or if somebody said, one question I had was, can you have multiple keywords under the same parameter? Like if somebody typed in flu and vaccine, and then it'd say something like, for more information on the, our flu vaccine costs this many dollars. You can make an appointment on these days. For more information, go to this website. So you can have multi levels of keywords.
Yeah. So as an example, I have two keywords that do the same thing. So the keyword fast and the keyword Corvette both produce the same result within our platform, the same automated message response back. And then you can have multiple keywords that do different things. So it's really infinitely configurable to whatever it is that you want it to do. The idea is that you want to use the keywords like we said to kind of self-soothe and self triage interactions.
Cool. My last question that I had in regards to function and feature, because I know this thing does a lot, but I just wanted to touch on some of the main functions and features that at least I've personally seen are the biggest pain points for most folks in the healthcare sector. This one I already asked you, but I don't know if you want to elaborate on it anymore. If there's anything we didn't touch. My next thing that I wanted to talk about was scheduling one or more messages or scheduling campaigns. We've already covered that, I think, a little bit, but is there anything else in regards to scheduling, individual or multiple text messages that we didn't touch or that you'd maybe want to talk about?
I think I would just want to further expand on the whole concept of the open API and what it can do. So if you have any sort of CRM or EHR system or anything like that that has an open API, the world is your oyster. You can configure all kinds of things, because that's where all that information is stored. It's usually stored in those client management systems. So the ability to integrate with those and have those produce certain interactions based on, closeness to appointment, or maybe like another, not even just like appointment reminders, but like another thing I'm sure everybody gets is like, I used to with my dentist, is like a thing of like, oh, hey, by the way, are you remembering to do blankety blank? Or, hey, have we're doing a promotion for Invisalign or something like that, or whatever may have you. So there's all those different components, again, that can all be done via those APIs into those CRMs and EHR systems, which is, I just can't expand on how important that is to be able to do that. So.
Gotcha.
The other thing I was just going to add real quickly is the fact that, so a tool like this is, anyone can use it. I can use it, and I have my own account, and I send out texts to all my particular customers. So it can be very, very easy, or it can get super granular, like Chris was explaining before, where you've got lots of sub groups all over the country or whatever. And the thing about SMS and MMS texting is I think the rate is it's a 98% open rate and a 95% read rate. So this is like a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. It blows away email.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys to talk on some of those statistics, because I noticed on your website and in the informational data sheet and white papers for Bubble, you guys have a lot of pretty hard statistics on just how email and not answering the phone and all that, texting is becoming kind of the bigger way that people communicate. I've even noticed that since everything has started with the pandemic, is that, and people are distancing and trying to find better ways to communicate without always being in person. I've even noticed that people are texting me more. I usually respond and tell them I'm not that great by text, but I'm learning that I need to get with the 21st century and get better at responding to text, like a lot of the younger crowd. I'm going to move into some of the administration part. The good news is, Chris, you've done a really good job at elaborating on what the system can do and the benefits of it. So 2 of the questions that I originally had for you, I'm going to take out, but I do have 2 other ones that I want to ask you before we wrap this up. Kathleen just actually started to touch on some of it. And my question is, can one or more users administer this system? And what does that look like, and how easy is that for somebody to manage it? And more importantly, are they tethered to a desk where there's a server, or I'm assuming this is in the cloud, so it can be managed from anywhere. What does that look like as far as from where it can be managed and how easy it is?
Okay, so I'm going to answer those in reverse. So it can be managed through a web portal. You don't need to be at any particular location or tied to a server or anything like that. I'm just logged into this web browser right here. That's all I'm doing. So I do this from home, do this on the road. I've tried accessing this from my mobile device. It scales okay. You can do some things, but really it's best if you're doing it from a desktop, just because there's a lot of different bells and whistles and widgets and doodads and such that just don't scale well on a mobile device. In regards to the multiple users, you can have as many users as you want. The way the licensing works is per concurrent users logged in. So as an example, if the 3 of us work for an organization, but only one of us ever needs to be in the platform at any given point in time, we can all have our own unique user information, which is beneficial from a reporting and customer interaction standpoint and everything like that. But we would only need to pay for the 1 license of the concurrently logged in user.
Gotcha.
So that's going to be how it works. Typically, most organizations, say like a 10 to 15 person organization, is probably only going to have 1 account, and that doubles as their administrator and their user or agent account. And we've seen like larger companies, 100, 150 users, they'll maybe have like 5 or 10 people, depending on what their use case is. But again, it's based on logged in users. So you can have 100 people configured, but only 5 are logging in at a point in time. Then you only need to pay for those 5 licenses.
Understood. Well, I guess my final question is, Chris, this is, I guess, a question for both of you, Chris or Kathleen. Is there any other features specific or beneficial to anybody in, healthcare or the medical sector that I haven't mentioned or haven't asked about that you'd like to quickly touch on or just talk about?
I think one of the cool things that I can think of is that when you have somebody text in the keywords, like when they text into it initially, you can actually automatically tag them, which is a cool thing. So like in the concept of the flu vaccines or whatever may have you. So if somebody texts the word flu to your number, you can have it tag the word, vaccine unscheduled or whatever it is you want to
Gotcha.
do. And then you can do like kind of like a follow-up based on that. And then if they do schedule an appointment, you can have it write a tag vaccine scheduled or whatever may have you. So you can kind of use that as a way to kind of automate a lot of processes. And I don't think I really touched on that, but it's a kind of a cool feature.
Gotcha. How is it? I'm going to throw you a curveball. This wasn't in my list, but it's got me thinking. Obviously, in the medical field, people forget things like appointments and stuff. And then there's also compliance and holding clients and as well as the physicians accountable. How easy is it it's kind of a two-part question. How easy is it for the people on the administration side to be able to go in here and pull up past conversation history?
Super easy.
And then my other question, which you can answer after that, is there a way for this to send like a transcript? I know some chat things or whatever, they have a thing where when a chat is ended, or maybe whether it's automatically or manually, you can send like, whether it's by PDF or email or something, you can send almost like a transcript of the past conversation. Or
there's some components to it. There's a little bit more complexity to that, but there is some ways to do that. To look at the past conversations is pretty easy. I'm not sure if we're following along, but basically I just pop in here into my contacts and we're going to look for, there's that car dude one, right? And it's got all my interactions here. Now I can just click on this and then I can see that text interaction that happened. In turn, if this guy texts into me, let's say if I just go, hey, and he comes into the chat box, he's popping into my queue. I, as the agent that's taking over that new dialogue, I can look back historically and see all the previous dialogue as well. So here it is loading up, and it's going to take a second to load because it loads little bits at a time. So there we go, and you can see all those previous interactions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's the very first day that I started working with it and started, kind of texting around and everything like that.
Gotcha.
So I can say, when I get that initial message, I could say, hey, Mr. Client, Mr. Patient, let me look over the previous dialogue and see what's going on.
Cool. All right. Well, that is all of the questions that I have for you guys. Let me change my screen here. There we go. So I can see you all. I want to thank you both for being here and taking the time out to show this epic platform off to our viewers and for those who find some value in it. So thank you to both of you for being here. For any of you that are watching this video and you're thinking, man, I've already got like a voice over IP phone system, because as Chris and Kathleen mentioned, this can run standalone from whoever your voice over IP or phone system carrier is, and you're thinking, man, this would really be beneficial for my medical practice or other type of business that could benefit from some sort of bulk SMS and MMS texting. Feel free to reach out to me and I'll hook you up with Chris and Kathleen so they can show you a more customized demo based on your scenario. If you're watching this and you're thinking, well, not only does this platform bubble look neat, but I also could use a better phone system. The folks at Broadvoice do this all day long, every day. So I could definitely hook you up with the right persons. They'll get you, a customized demo, special quote based on your specific needs. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video. Please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. We upload new videos every single week. Prince Rich with Rich Technology Group, your go-to guy for the best deals on business phone and internet service in the United States. I'll talk to you guys again in the next video.